Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Tom Colohue. I'm going to be your host today for this here live stream in which we're going to be breaking down the reporting, the events, the facts and the figures for what has happened between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair leading into Survivor Series 2021, where the two will be wrestling a good old-fashioned wrestling match against each other. So, you know, hopefully, or at least in the WWE's eyes, everything was going to run smooth, and it kind of hasn't run smooth in any way, shape or form. We're going to be covering a lot of different reporting, PW Insider, TalkSport, Fightful, PW Torch, all going to be mentioned, as well as some news exclusive that you're not going to find anywhere else other than right here. We do news and shows like this every single day, so please remember to click subscribe and hit like to help us grow. We're also on Ask Me Anything streams to break down the segment that happened starting on Friday's SmackDown. It was the main event segment and featured Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair ostensibly trading championships. Becky Lynch is now on Raw despite being the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Charlotte Flair is now on SmackDown despite being the Raw Women's Champion, so a trade needed to take place. This didn't have to be a big problem. With the Street Profits and the New Day previously, a trade was inevitable and easy. It was literally a backstage segment where they went, here you go, and the other team went, here you go. They were all good guys, kind of works differently. This time we had two heels, and it's kind of a proven fact that all heels are randomly best friends, and yet not this time. There was clear tension during the segment. A lot of people seemed like they really didn't know what they were doing. Everyone seemed to miss a step. There was a lot of whispering, and there was a lot of championships on the floor. Shortly after the segment, it came out via PW Insider that Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch had gotten into a bit of a barn burner backstage. Not a fight per se, but a verbal altercation is what PW Insider reported. Now, PW Insider do have proven sources in gorilla position. So if it happened in the gorilla position, which is where they go immediately after returning backstage, there is definite evidence to support that they would know about it. Now, admittedly, I went to their page to research this, and I think there was about 73 ads that I had to work my way through in order to get to the actual report, but you take what you can get in that regard. That was the initial report from PW Insider. After this, we got a report from TalkSport. The report from TalkSport was very clearly from the point of view of Charlotte Flair or someone close to her. Alex McCarthy, who writes the reports for TalkSport, has been very open about the fact that he is in communication with, and I quote, Charlotte's camp. Now, I think immediately we have to question the validity of any information that comes from Charlotte's camp, because it is clearly biased towards someone. And when you look at the information that was presented there, it does show a certain element of bias that I have to question. For example, they did state that Charlotte Flair wanted to lose clean on Raw to Bianca Belair. This really didn't have much to do with this report. It had nothing to do with what happened backstage, but clearly somebody wanted to mention it. It also reported that dropping the championship on the floor was scripted, and it followed up in the time to come that later they would change their report to state that that wasn't scripted due to someone in the WWE coming in and saying to them, nah mate, you're wrong. So they got their initial information from Charlotte's camp stating that the drop of the title was scripted, and then changed because someone from WWE came in and told them, nah, it wasn't. I have questions about that. Many, many questions. But I digress. It is information that we have. And even though it's a report of what happened, I feel it's a very fair look at this to say it's a report from Charlotte's point of view. That's the feel I get upon reading this report. There was then a Fightful Select report. Now, I don't have Fightful Select, but I've been shown screenshots of what the report was. Essentially, that disputed a little bit of what the reports were from TalkSport, which is not something I expected to see, but we are where we are, and also clarified what was scripted and what was not. Apparently, the blame was firmly on Charlotte's at Charlotte's feet, as it were. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer also reported that Charlotte was removed by security, though Fightful did report that Vince McMahon wanted to speak with Charlotte, but Charlotte would not stay and talk to him. Finally, we then had a PW Torch report stating that backstage, Becky Lynch is being treated like a hero for standing up to Charlotte Flair, because apparently a lot of people wanted that to happen. There is apparently an opinion from several of the women that the the PW Torch spoke to, that nobody really wants to work with Charlotte anymore. And in fact, that Charlotte is continuing to isolate herself and becoming increasingly difficult to work with because she only seems to care about her looks. Now, I want to go into some more detail as to the information that's come out and that I've been chasing up. And the information basically is headlined by someone in the WWE stating to me, Vince feels at times that Charlotte Flair already has one foot out of the door. Now, to clarify a few of those points. Charlotte has not rubbed everybody the wrong way, but she does keep to her own social circles. There is an opinion that she is isolating herself. However, there are different people saying different things about this. The fact that she does have her own social circles mean that she tends to stay with the same groups of people. And one of the reasons that the WWE was so eager to move her to SmackDown when Fox stated that they wanted that to happen was because more of the people that Charlotte knows and gets along with are on SmackDown, so that could potentially give her a bit of a palate cleanser. On Raw, Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss are said to still be supportive and to have enjoyed working with her. To be clear, that does not come directly from them, that comes from third-party sources about them. When it comes to the falling out that originated all of this, the falling out between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, it apparently started in the build to the WrestleMania main event between Charlotte, Becky and Ronda Rousey, and it never really recovered. In her Oral Sessions interview with Renee Paquette, which is still out there that you can check out, Charlotte, when asked about the relationship between her and Becky, would only comment on her professional relationship with Lynch. She stated that Becky Lynch was an inspiration as a working mother. However, she also stated, incidentally, about the career that Becky had had rather than the career that she is currently ongoing. So I don't feel she particularly knew ahead of time that Becky was preparing to return. Certainly there are suggestions of that. There was no further comment on their professional relationship, which is clearly broken down. TalkSport did clarify this from, once again, Charlotte's point of view, or at least the camp of Charlotte, I should say, stating that a large part of the breakup was a promo in which Becky Lynch referred to Charlotte as plastic. Other people have stepped on this as well. Liv Morgan, for example, saying, is there anything about you that's real? It's become a stick that's used to beat Charlotte, not just in the WWE, but also on social media. That said, apparently Charlotte's issue is not per se Becky Lynch, but the booking. And this is said to have started during the feud with Lacey Evans, where Ric Flair was lined up against her. Charlotte was neither a fan of the storyline, nor was she a fan of how Ric Flair was treated in the aftermath of it. Ric Flair had apparently had to act as a go-between on several occasions, but with him no longer there, that means that apparently, I use apparently a lot and you guys know why, the WWE management is struggling to communicate with Charlotte Flair. When it comes to the issue with Becky Lynch, Becky has accused Charlotte of trying to make it all about her. At the same time, Charlotte has accused Becky of trying to make it all about her. That was the crux of the argument. Charlotte did not want the image of Becky Lynch holding two belts over her head if Charlotte herself didn't get that moment. She didn't want the one-upsmanship, whereas Becky thought it was a good moment for the fans. Charlotte's argument essentially isn't that the booking is unfavourable, it's that it's just plain bad. However, it wasn't just the drop of the championship that was unscripted. Charlotte 100% went off script. She ad-libbed the majority of her promo, not just with Sasha Banks, but particularly challenging Lynch to a winner-take-all match right there at the time. This was not scripted. Some are interpreting this as a threat, others just as real-life smack talk, but there is no question that it was a taunt directed at Becky Lynch. Becky was going to return and communicate. However, Sasha Banks was then ushered out into the arena nice and quick. Nice and quick. Charlotte went into business for herself in that segment. However, there were changes made to the script because of Charlotte's insistence to the management team. After Charlotte dropped the belt, which wasn't scripted, Sonya Deville refused to allow Becky Lynch to take hold of both championships. Becky, unable to get the championship from Charlotte, tried to get the championship from Sonya to still have the same moment and continue with the script, or at least the script that she knew of. Sonya Deville refused. This apparently was not Sonya Deville going rogue. This was her trying to get a grip of the situation because she was told not to let it get out of hand. One thing I need to mention in addition to this. The WWE are 100% considering taking the championship away from Charlotte in the build to Survivor Series in order to avoid the match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. However, the WWE are unsure about alienating Charlotte, as there is a genuine possibility that Charlotte could leave. This is apparently one of the only things that would scare Vince McMahon and make him think that AEW is suddenly a serious threat. Vince McMahon right now, including the rest of WWE management, are genuinely scared that they will lose Charlotte Flair, one of their crowning glories, as it were.